The first thing I wanted to, I guess, comment on was the writing about negative experiences. I noticed for me, what I was doing at one point was, I don't know how to say this, but I would take like a piece of notebook paper or loose leaf paper, and I would write about that negative experience. And then I would do something symbolic with it, burn it, put it away in a God box. Something where it was a physical act of getting it out of my brain onto the paper, and then taking the paper and doing something with it, burning it, throwing it away, burying it, putting it in my God box. Putting it in my God box means I'm turning it over to a power greater than myself. And then I would save my journal for the affirmations and how could I turn this around? How could I see it positively? So that was kind of like what I thought about when Gabriel was talking about, writing the negative, and you were talking about you can't keep going over it. That's so true. That is so true. And then the other thing is, I don't know how many people would be interested, but I'm very interested in not having an affirmation writing session, but maybe getting with you or as a group. And my affirmations, I have all of these ideas in my head, but they don't turn out to be powerful affirmations. Like the affirmations you just presented, very powerful. And I need to do some around my living situation, my health, and all of that. So I don't know if we can have like a workshop, or if I can meet with you one-on-one around affirmations. But this presentation was so good, so timely, and a good reminder of where I need to be placing my focus. So thank you. That's all I had to say about it.
Oh, you're welcome. I'll respond and then see what Gabriel's got to say. But yeah, I think it's tough because writing out the stuff, like you said, absolutely helped me to heal. But again, as Gabriel said, there was a point where I realised now this is negative. Now you're just stuck in this place that you need to come out of, And I would suggest, in terms of the affirmations, like, it only struck me in doing this session to ask ChatGPT to give me some affirmations. ChatGPT, honestly, I cuss it in a live conversation like the podcast. Leave it alone. That's my view, because we want to talk from the heart. But in terms of enhancing tools and whatever, ChatGPT gave me those. I asked for 10 positive spiritual based affirmations.
It really is a shock how much ChatGPT knows spirituality and stuff like that. Sometimes it scares me, but because I went to ChatGPT one before and just started talking about God, and it started telling me all these things. I was like, "You sure you're not human? Like, what kind of connection you got going here? Like, how do you know this?" But I really did love the presentation. I felt like, I don't know, it just had some feeling to it. That's just me. I guess it had a lot of energy coming off of it. It was very intentional. And
absolutely.
That, when I was talking about the negative energy and the flipping from writing negative to positive, that really that part, I don't know, something flipped. So I felt a good good energy come off of that, of realization, to be honest. And it couldn't have been more perfectly timed. So I'm kind of in the time where it's like I need to get out of my head. And I used to write affirmations when I was going through stuff, and it helped. And then I stopped. So I probably should pick that back up. Even though I might not feel the most confident in saying it around people or doing that, it's still to do it, to get that started. And I was going to ask you during, when you were talking about the affirmations, what is something that really keeps you consistent? You'll have your days when you're killing it, writing down your affirmation every day, a week, two in, maybe even a month. Then you hit that slump where you feel like, I don't really want to say it. Might miss a day, might miss two, might miss three. Then it started snowballing into getting off course of it. I tend to have some of those times where it's like I talk big and I do it and I fall off. I know it's part of the process, but I don't like feeling like that. I don't know.
I get slapped by the universe, man. The universe slaps me about regular. That's the truth. Do you know what I mean? It's like a crisis, like that stuff that was happening with that racist situation or whatever. It's when I feel absolutely not lost. Trying to find the word. That desperate feeling that, you know, when I feel like my emotions are overtaking me, then I really go back into spiritual practice. So I think kind of like yourself, I can be really good at it, on point, and then I see everything shifting and I'm like, yeah. And then I stop doing it as much. And then funnily enough, something will come along and boom, I got slapped by the universe. It's the same as like with my exercising at the moment. I know that some of the health stuff, I've developed this lower back pain, which I've never had in my life. God is, the Most High is going, get up and move. Right? Because that's what part of my journey is. So I've been getting up and moving, and I've been finding ways, because I think it will help others in the future, of squeezing in little bits of exercise in my busy day, because always trying to do like this long training session can't always run with the, you know, and I'm sure you know with a baby, Gabriel. But I think what I'm aiming for, and I think the place to aim for, if you can get there, is consistent daily spiritual practice. So you get up in the morning, you write your, this is the process I want to be really consistent on. Get up in the morning, go straight to my desk, write my affirmations, meditate. Then I might do a little bit of exercise. Then later in the day, do my times 6. And then before I go to bed, do my times 9. And if I can meditate another time, so I want to meditate 30 minutes in the morning, 30 minutes in the evening. Because it's not until you do it and you see it. And again, this is why all these, you know, millionaires, billionaires do it. When you do it regular and you see the outcome, it absolutely works. The problem is most people with their routine and their life can't get it in regular.
Yeah, I definitely feel that. Oh, go ahead, Tori.
I'm so sorry. I wanted to add to the consistency discussion. I got two minds. The first mind is, do I need to change the way I look at consistency? What do I mean by that? Is my definition of consistency based on programming? I'll give you an example. You know, I really got into working out in my 20s. I'm 60 now. And what would happen is I'd be on a jag. It might be 3 months. Sometimes it might be a couple of years. And then I would stop. And then I'd be like, oh no, I'm out of shape. So when I look back over it, cumulatively, all those times I got back on outweigh the times that I was on a break or I wasn't consistent. And that is reflecting in my health, because some of the health challenges that I have, if I did not take care of myself earlier, they would be worse. So that's the first thing. So I've been rolling around in my head consistency cycles. Are there cycles? Should consistency be cyclical, or should it just be boop, one straight line? And then when I break in that line, I'm beating myself up. Is that how consistency? You see what I'm saying? I'm just kicking all of these ideas around in my head. What if we're supposed to be consistent in cycles with certain things and not just a straight line where we never not do it? Does that make sense? I'm also getting this idea from the fact of how addiction works. So a lot of people who are like, I have a friend who's trying to quit smoking. right? Well, the smoking is something in the mouth. It helps with stress. It helps, manage her eating. She doesn't eat too much. So I notice a lot of people who try to stop smoking, they have to restart. I know for a lot of people, me included, if I have to start something over and over again, I feel like a failure. Am I really a failure? Or is the key to get back on the wagon again? I fall off, I get back on, and eventually one of those times it sticks because each time I learn something different about myself. So this whole idea of consistency, what belief is it based on? And is that belief helpful? Because I want to love all versions of myself, and I want to learn how to do things without beating up on myself. I don't know if this makes sense, but it's kind of like the no pain, no gain kind of stuff. Oh, there you go. You fell off the wagon again. You didn't get up today and exercise. This is just for me. I'm not saying this is anybody else's process. So it has me questioning, what is consistency? Can I be effective with cycles? Because quite honestly, the way that the world is going, and this is what we talked about earlier, is you have to be agile and flexible, and every day something may be different, right? But I also remember times that I want to meditate consistently so bad that I literally put my meditation cushion beside my bed. So when I got up in the morning, I slid from my bed to that meditation cushion. And so that's how it is now. If I want to be consistent about something, I make sure I build it into my life. When I wanted to exercise and I had a newborn baby and I know I couldn't go outside and run because that was my thing at the time, I still got up in the morning and I went up and down the stairs. Or maybe I knew my baby wouldn't wake up for a bottle until 6 a.m. So I might run around in a circle or jog in place in front of my front door and then stick my head back in and check to make sure my baby wasn't crying. So when I really, really want something, I figure out a way how to incorporate it in my life so it feels ubiquitous. You know what I'm saying? I want to be physically fit, so I'm not going to get a job where I'm sitting down. I'm going to get a job where I'm moving around all the time. I don't know if any of this makes sense, but these are all of the thoughts that are kind of shooting out of my head about consistency and the different ways we can approach it. But I think the bottom line is not to beat up on myself if I fail to do consistency in the way that I have been programmed to do it. I don't know if this is making sense, but I've been turning these ideas around in my head for the last couple of weeks. So I'm so excited because we're talking about this now. But
you always make sense, right? Always. Gabriel, what would you like to say about that?
I just had it. It really does make sense when you say it like that, because it's like, you see the charts of consistency, and it's like, if you ever seen like a picture on Instagram, they'll like have a line of like what people think consistency is and what consistency actually is.
Yes.
And just what you said off of cycles remind me something 19 Keys said, where it's like, relating to business and stuff, everything has a cycle. Everything has a summer, winter, fall, and all this stuff. And it's really about understanding how to operate in cycles is when you're the most powerful. Learning how to operate during your winter seasons or when you're doing your best or when everything is kind of boring and still. So that actually does make a lot of sense. For me, I would have to learn that because I feel like I might not know my cycles as much. Because I feel like an issue I have, with saying, because it's like affirmations and things or meditation or something like that, is because I kind of try to feed for validation. Like wanting somebody to do it with me. If they don't do it with me, then it's like, I guess it's really not that important. Because, I'm married, so it's like my wife, she can't say she doesn't believe in it, because I know she does, but she just doesn't do it. Or at least when I do it, it's kind of like a weird-ish thing. So it's like, I don't try to take that to heart. So it's like, okay, it's not for everybody. So, but it's like, silent judgment inside of you. It's like, dang, is this really something that like, when you do it and, they see you doing it, now you get that feeling of like, let me get up right quick, or like that. And, you know, kind of like an embarrassed feeling. And I had that same with like affirmations, like trying to say it to myself, and she's like in the house, just knowing she could hear me. Sometimes it's like I try not to be too loud, even though, you know, you want to project your voice and do that. Like I'm holding back sometimes in certain aspects. And, you know, I'm not putting her down. I love her to God. Like I love her. I'm not trying to put her down or anything in that aspect, but it's like, sometimes I feel like I hold myself back for other people's views. And that was one of the issues some things that I don't know exactly how to get over. I don't know why I search for validation so much, but it's like, I feel like that's a big key in staying in my consistency, I should say.
Yeah, I mean, I've got to say, be careful of that, because I know that I had that same issue, Gabriel, that I developed from childhood, and for lots of different reasons, not one specific thing, but a lot of myself I kept hidden. And, you know, even though my close family, we all living together, there were sides of my character they just did not know because I kept them quiet. And the big catalyst for change was my last relationship, my children's father, where I totally just hid myself and then started to make these compromises to fit into his world, because I won't go into that actually, but the bottom line was I was not being my authentic self. You know, one of the things I've always done since I was young is dance. I freestyle I used to do it every day, and I didn't realize until it was taken away from me after having my daughters and having a cesarean. I could barely walk, you know, and being in that relationship. I didn't realize how much it was helping my mental health. It was only through stopping it. But that process of dancing every day, not doing it because I didn't want to be laughed at or I didn't want to be observed, or it's my private thing and I don't want you coming in and sitting down and watching me. It's my private thing. You know, me not doing it, by the end of that relationship, when people say that they went numb or they felt dead inside, that's where I was. I was a shell of myself, and I had to do a lot of work, like Victoria said, to get back to myself. Because if you're not doing the things that your spirit is screaming at you to do, it would just build, and eventually you will have to do it. So you either get the courage now and say, because it's like you say, it's yourself, like it was myself. She's not telling you, your wife isn't saying don't do those affirmations. You are trying to appease, and you don't even know in truth what would happen if you were doing it every day. Because it's funny how people adjust when you just be you. You know, so I totally get it. And in terms of the cycles, and I think for me, what I've come to realize for myself personally is I do agree there's definitely cycles, but I think there's certain things that you have to do daily, and if you don't do them, it's not good for you. So it's like I realized sitting down every day at my desk created stagnation in my body, and I started to get health issues. I never realized that beforehand because I was in a job where I was out and about every day, and I was walking, and I was catching buses and taking the girls to school. I was walking regularly every day for at least an hour, probably at least. So your body needs to move. And if you're somebody that's used to sitting around stagnated, you can't explain to them. They're not going to get it logically that if you get up and move, you're going to have more energy. Because what they're going to say is, I'm tired. I haven't got the energy to work out. But people that work out know that no matter how tired you are, when you work out, you generate energy. You come out feeling more lively, even if you're going tired. But you can't explain that to somebody who doesn't know it. So I think similarly with meditation, you have to move your body every day. Meditation to me is like drinking water. You have to, or eating fruit with water in it. You know, you need to hydrate, you need to sleep, you need to breathe and breathe properly, like Tania taught us. And meditation is in that package of daily things that if you do them daily, you feel better, you feel calmer, you feel more in control of yourself. But you only know it from doing it regularly. So I don't think meditation should be cyclical, or drinking water or exercising, but I do agree about the cyclical nature of things. And sometimes, if you go on a holiday, you're not necessarily going to be meditating every day. You're going to be jumping up and going into the pool, or going to the sea, or there's times where you go, it's all right to break it here.
I can see that.
But it's hard because I think lifestyle, if we all, let's say AI goes the positive way that we're being told, and we all get a universal payment and our days are our own, there's going to be people that take advantage of that and do spiritual practice and Tai Chi in the park, and bake cakes and take it to their neighbors, and then there's going to be people that just go deeper into the virtual world. They're going to stick them eye sets on or whatever, and they're not even going to know what the real world is like anymore. But I think if we all had the time and space to do it, and like you said, which is I think is really powerful, Victoria, we can do anything, it's just whether we prioritize it or not. And that's why, like, those slaps from the universe, like the back pain I've got, is making me exercise. I don't have time. I have to have time because I'm 46 and I can't have certain physical problems. I've got to at least try to make things better for myself. Do you know what I mean? So get your backside up and train.
I did have a word come to me when you were talking about your back, and the word is support.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have anything where you support your back? Do you wear anything?
No, I know
that word came to me. Yeah,
I know.
Gotcha.
It's
I got
sitting down too much. It's not walking, because again, when you walk a lot, your body's in that process, right? My legs are in that actual process I'm thinking of. But it's just like sitting in, even now, the way I'm sitting now, I'm like, my feet should be on something, and they're not. They're
Gotcha. I got you.
The thing I think about, do your hamstrings feel tight? Like the back of your legs sometimes?
Yeah.
Okay, so I would say just randomly, if you get the thought of back pain, stretch your hamstrings. Like sit on the ground, touch toes, stand up, touch toes, because tight hamstrings cause lower back pain. Right.
Appreciated, because I was lying down yesterday with my feet in the air to just let the circulation come, and I was twisting my ankles, and that's what I was thinking was hamstring. These things are tight, boy. Not meant to feel like this.
Yeah, tight hamstrings cause lower back. I would know.
I did not know that. Good to know.
Do you still train, Gabriel?
Yes, I actually got hired as a personal trainer at LA Fitness right now. I'm doing a little more for that.
That's really good.
They don't pay much, but I'm really doing it for experience.
Yeah. That's really good. Because something like that, again, that comes back to manifestation and scripting. Because something that I've really learned is that I have been blocking my own development with my small-mindedness in the past. You could be, if you say I want to be, I don't know, the top personal trainer to the stars or whatever, you absolutely could. Why couldn't you?
I think, keep saying what my issues are. I need to stop that, but I'm gonna do it today. I feel like two things that are like heavy on me, I guess, trying to think about, or like makes me the most uncomfortable, is figuring out what are my right priorities, and dang, I just had it. Oh, we just gonna do it. And I guess organizing, or like yeah, I would say organization. It's like the priorities part is like, I know kind of what I want or what I would like to have. Uh, personal training, passive income, wealth, to be able to provide. But in the same sense, then my wife gets to talking. It's like, my son's my priority. You have to make money, things of that nature. Like it's true things, obviously. But it's like when it comes to me and thinking about that, it's like, I'm not really good with money. Like she's better than I am, so I try to lean on that. But then I'm still impulsive, and it's like I have these two battles where it's like I'm doing better. I know I'm doing better, but then to other people's eyes, it doesn't seem like I'm doing. Like the validation still plays a heavy part in a lot that's controlling me, and I'm trying to figure out how not to feel like that. Like I need validation, which I don't. But then again, it's like when I get uncomfortable or I feel like I don't know a lot. Yeah.
What I hear you saying is you need support. That's what I hear you saying. So it's not so much validation, but I'm just thinking of your position as an African American male and how what you're trying to do, there's not a lot of support. You know what I'm saying? Like, is there a book? Is there other group of... I'm watching this series called Shy. I'm very late to the party. But one thing that I noticed in Shy, I feel like Shy tries to model some of the things that we can do as African Americans to help us out. And so there's a group of men that get together, they meet, they talk about what's going on in their life and stuff like that. So what I hear you saying is not that you need validation, but that you need support for the different things that you want to accomplish in your life. Because, I mean, like 19 Keys telling you that their, business is cyclical. I just feel like you need more of that. And that's something that I feel like we as women, we can't do. Like I have a male child. I always told him, I cannot tell you how to be a man, but I can tell you how to be a decent human being. And he's, expressed frustration with me before, like, I can't talk to you about some stuff. This is, stuff that men go through specifically. So what I hear you saying is not that you need validation, but you need support. Historically, Big Mama, the grandmama figure in African American culture has always been the person you went to get help or to get, we didn't need therapists and counselors because there was somebody in the family that we went to, and now family is more spread apart and we don't have that. Maybe you could go to your uncle or somebody like that, but that's what I hear you saying. Not that you need validation, but you just need support. There are rites of passages that we go through as human beings, and if there is someone who can facilitate that, provide more information, give you and actually validate, you're feeling right. Yes, you should be confused here. Okay, it's going to clear up. That's all I hear you saying, and I could be wrong, but I just feel like there are certain things that we as a culture lack, and I wish there was some way we could create those things, and I think it would help us navigate life in a more smooth, less judgmental kind of way. That's just what I'm hearing from what you're saying.
I feel like I try to lean on her for support a lot, which obviously she's my wife if I want to, but it's like we've been through some things, so some trust could be broken. So it's like can't always be supported because it's like not trying to be one-sided, but it's like not seeing eye to eye. Our perspectives are totally different. So what makes us work, but then what makes us don't work. We butt heads a lot. But yeah, when it comes to that aspect, I mean, I do have somebody. Her father has been that figure to me, so it's been helping a bit, but he's a little further, so it's like I try not to feel like I need it all the time because I can do a lot of things on my own, but I am my mind is an overthinker, so it has a lot of just commotion going on there, so I try not to I try not to overthink too much, but it happens more than I would like for it to. It causes me to hesitate, double think, double something. But just yeah,
I'll
causes
tell
me to
you
be
what.
unsure, basically, in certain aspects of where my purpose is, what I should be doing, what I could be doing, if I have value. Like it causes me to doubt, and I don't like doubt. I don't like confusion, because like you said, Caroline, about dance. Mine was wrestling. So like when I stopped wrestling, and I still think about wrestling crazy to this day. Like anytime someone brings up wrestling, or saying they got a wrestling mat to go to, so I get excited. I happy, because it was something that, like, wrestling really shaped my life. It actually changed me, like, physically, mentally. Like, I used to be a hothead when I was little. I used to get in fights all the time. My mom put me in wrestling to help me with my anger issues, so that was one part of it. But then once you get into like high school wrestling, it does that even more, but then shows you the act of patience, fasting. Like, I didn't know I was fasting at the time, but it's like, it's diet control, intentional sweating, like with heat, just trusting my intuition, like my gut. Like, I had to. Like, I used to wrestle blindfolded, so it's like mind muscle connection. It's this whole circle of life that wrestling has taught me. And I think that was the biggest thing that got taken from me when I stopped. It was more than just a sport that I didn't see then, that when I left, my body, like, when I tell you, when I left college to stop wrestling, that my body screamed at me for about a month. Screamed at me for about a month to go back. I was having dreams, I was having nightmares, and it's like, I just let it go, because I thought it was about time to start real life, because I wasn't doing as well as I thought I was doing, or I wasn't doing at school. Then I let people get in my head to, start real life. Like wrestling wasn't real life, or just listen to other people in that sort. So when I stopped that, it took a big chunk, and it's ever since then, I've been like on a path of trying to find back to where I have power, in a sense, or like where that same feeling, it's not going to be the same, but where I get that feeling, like I'm comfortable, like this is me, like this is, because if anything gets popped about wrestling, like I'm on it. Like, if somebody wanted me to be a coach, I could be on it. If somebody wants me to get me back on the mat, like, I was so sure about wrestling, like I could go to Olympics if I really was like able to focus in and be like, that's still how I feel today. Like, that was just, and it's like trying to find that.
Number one, you've got to get back to it. There's no question about that. If something makes you feel like that, you have to return to it. And it's all about, this as above, so below, as within, so without. One of the things that I scripted when my daughters were doing wushu, I wanted to do wushu, but she wasn't teaching adults. And we talked about doing a women's group, and we went back and forth, but it never really happened. And I put down that I want to do wushu, and I want to do the weapons as well, the weapons display. It's not with a real sword, it's with a fake sword. Look, see if you can see this. Can you see this? Wushu sword. I actually took, when I talk about drawing my sword.
Yes.
That's what I wrote down, and it was impossible at the time. And then all this stuff happened. There was a problem with the venue. She changed venue. Then she got this bigger sports hall. And then she was just like, if you want to do the class, just join in. You don't have to pay me. Just pay for the girls. And then next thing you know, I'm doing wushu and I'm doing the weapons. So I think if you put it into your meditations, into your affirmations, I am a wrestler. In 6 months' time, I'll be in a wrestling group or whatever. It will manifest. But that's the first thing I wanted to say, is you have to do that. There's no question. But the other thing, Gabriel, you honestly, like, you kind of break my heart open, because you're such a sweet young man, and I think that you are a naturally empathic masculine. So that empathic nature of yours, when you put empath and intellect together, which is what I think we find in this group that we're all in, when we all get together. With those two things, that overthinking mind can mess with the empath and the intuition. So everything you've said, I've grappled with myself. You know, my mind can go down roads, mate. And it was Muji. There's a guy called Muji Baba. You can look him up on YouTube, MOOJI. And Muji helped me to really recognize in a stand, because at first when I started watching him, I couldn't understand what he was talking about. That's the truth. It took me about 6 months of listening to him to start to get what he's talking about. But you have to find that space where you are not thinking, where you are aware that you are, like when people used to say, when you get to a certain level of spirituality, you'll start to feel the oneness of it. I was like, whatever. I feel the oneness of it. But what I'm hearing is, my advice to you is everything you said on point. You know, respect your partner, grow with your partner, all of them things with your wife. But you must work on yourself and love yourself first. You must do that. Now, what I have struggled with as a woman is people saying that in you know, go and deal with your own mental health and don't worry about the children. And I'm like, that's cool. You go and deal with your mental health while I have to bring in the money. I have to wash them, dress them, plait their hair, feed them, cook, go to work. How come you get as a man to go, I must take care of my mental health? Like, that's rubbish. Your son does come first. But you've got to be good to make him first. So again, the universe will move for you to allow you to do that. If you ask for it, you know, whatever you ask, whatever you're looking for, you will be provided with. And I think that's where people fall short, is they don't ask. They don't face God and say, help me with this. Like, I know that I need to, the internal work is the only way you're going to overcome that overthinking and those negative thoughts that you've got about yourself. Because that's really what it is. Like, you've said it yourself, the words that are coming out of your mouth, I still do it. The words that are coming out of your mouth are self-denigration. You're putting labels on yourself and you're declaring it out loud. Yeah, I still do it. I still, like, there's things that I've said in the group on the podcast where I'm like, I don't even know why I said that, because it's not actually true. It's my thought at this moment. So it does take that control to not do that. But I think as well, it's recognizing what I'm being guided to say to you is recognizing that time flies. So you're 23. You're 23 now. You're going to be 43 in a minute. And you ain't even going to see it coming, right? I tell you that as a fact. Yeah. But at the same time, this is the dichotomy in how the universe is so amazing. You're a young man. So if you learn these lessons now and put them into practice now, you're flying. Because you have everything it takes, regardless of the denigrating thoughts and words that you're saying. You are a sensitive soul. You're a deep dude, like I said. Like, you got a deep mind and a deep heart. And those things can create madness. It can send you mad. That's the truth, right? Sitting and overthinking and feeling things really deeply. I learned that for myself. I see that sometimes in my daughters, and I have to guide them out of that. But just do the practices daily, and it will shift. You will see it shift. I think what we all struggle with, I know what I struggle with, is the sluggishness of the 3D, and doing the affirmations and doing these processes and wanting it to happen now. But the 3D reality is a sluggish process. So yes, it can speed up. And I know that people like 19 Keys and Erin Lyons and others have said we're quantum jumping much more fast these days. but you got to be patient as well. So when you're in the process of doing it, if you're not seeing anything happen for a bit, you just got to trust in the process, you know. And if you're a man of faith, so I know you can do that.
Yeah, it's just dealing with it in the process. Well, the feeling of it. Like, I used to like being uncomfortable, like I said, because of wrestling, but ever since I kind of got out of that, I'm not in it. My mind, not me, but my mind has been on the more of easy route victim mind state, kind of, I would say. Like, that's how I can describe it, because I knew, like, the last year of me wrestling, I wasn't really wrestling to wrestle. Like, I usually love the challenge. I love the, you know, the pain. I love to learn while I'm there, but it was really just about survival. Like, I know when I shifted my mind, like, I felt it. Like, I physically was, like, to the point of faking injuries, having panic attacks on the mat, like, just not wanting to be there. Just literally every day it was like, just get through the practice, just get through practice. Like, I felt like I was learning anything, and it showed. So ever since after that, it was more of just finding a way around things rather than through things. And I know that's where I need to start again, and where, you know, I'll build off of, but it's, you know, from that habit of being comfortable, it's difficult. It's difficult. It's not hard, but it's not easy. So that's where I'm learning, and it's like, I don't know what to say for that.
It's giving yourself grace. And again, we can be, it's really all about self-dialogue, because the self-dialogue is what reflects out anyway. You know, there's obviously your energy and who you are, you know, you, not to sound like, just in truth, you fit in this group because you are of that frequency. That's the bottom line, is that, you know, I've really, really learned in recent months, not even years, that lesson as well, is that people who are not on your frequency, you just won't really be able to communicate or connect with. So that says something about who you are, this reflection. You're around really good people in this group and in the podcast, you know. And I'm a professional that's worked with people for 25 years, like I say. So I've had a lot of colleagues, I've been out on the front line, worked with families, worked with young people. So I know great people when I come across them. So I think really, you know, it's just you just realizing it's all okay. Like, what wake up in the morning. I've had to do it myself. I've been struggling with it the last few days, in truth. You know, wake up in the morning and just say, I'm brilliant. Just do that. All that other stuff, ignore it. Because what are you supposed to be doing? You know, and if it's about making money and providing for your family and all of that, it's having trust in yourself that you can do it. You've got a job. Trust in yourself and keep pressing forward. But don't obsess over it, and don't, like, it's really about your frequency every day. That's really what it's about, is keeping yourself calm, really loving yourself, keeping those thoughts positive, and imagining and creating the reality and the future that you want. It does happen, but you've got to, like I've had to and still am, and Victoria is, get into that subconscious and reprogram it, because it won't change in any significant way from the conscious mind. It just won't. You know, things like these habits that Victoria spoke about, there's so much evidence about NLP programming or hypnosis, and doing your affirmations as you wake up and before you go to sleep. You're going into that hypnosis state, you know, and you could voice record yourself. I had this suggestion, I haven't done it, and then my daughter's walking around doing it. I'm like, she's just so much better than me, man. She does everything I want to do, and I can't be asked to do it. Like, she's actually recorded her own affirmations and listens to it in the morning and says them out loud every morning. Yeah. I'm like, what is this? I love that she hears what I'm saying, you know, because sometimes it's evidence I don't even hear myself. But she's listening, you know.
Yeah. I wanted to say something when I heard Gabriel talking. This is something that I've had to pick up and probably need to incorporate in my affirmations. I don't know if Gabriel is familiar with thinking traps. It's the professional term for it is cognitive distortions, but it's kind of like different ways your thoughts can go that may not necessarily be true. And you can look this up on ChatGPT. It's called thinking traps, but it's like emotional reasoning, catastrophizing, overgeneralization, labeling, mind reading, because I thought I heard you trying to read your wife's mind. But anyway, I'm not judging. I'm just saying these are the things that personalization, jumping to conclusions. This is me. I'm preaching to myself. Mental filter, fortune telling, discounting the positive, magnification. That's where the big things you should be worried about, you minimize, and then the small things are like a big deal. Polarized thinking, social thinking traps. But this, I just put this in here because that is one of the gifts that trauma gave me. I mean, if one of these, just spin the wheel, like The Price is Right, and pick a thinking trap, and that's me. And that's kind of what I heard you saying, is that, oh, my thoughts, I overthink. So the thinking traps really help me because we have a bazillion thoughts a day that we don't act on. And what I have to be careful of is taking somebody's facial expression, or maybe they go, or whatever, and then I go off on this whole narrative, and maybe that person even isn't thinking about me. I would say 80% of the time, people are on something else, and it's not about me. Now, the other part that I heard was power dynamics. And I think power can be a dirty word, right? But what I heard you say was when you were practicing all of the things that made you a good wrestler, you felt like you were standing in your personal power. And I would encourage you, anything that makes you feel like you're standing in your own personal power, incorporate those things into your life. If it's the fasting, if it's the, wrestling blindfolded, that might translate into something else. Whatever it is that you got from those practices, find a way to develop and put those practices in, because what happens, and this is, I don't know if this happens where you are, but in the United States, a lot of African American thinking is based on slavery. You don't even know it. The slave master didn't want you to know your personal power. The slave master took away our language. The slave master took away anything that would make us feel powerful and grounded in ourselves. So that's what I also hear you saying, that when you are in your personal power, when you're doing things that make you feel like you're in control of your life and the things that are going on with you, you feel more grounded, you feel your thoughts feel more stable. But when you don't have those anchors in your life, then you're searching and you're looking outward, right? For other people, I need validation, I need this and that and the third. You're searching for it outside of yourself instead of going inside and giving yourself what you need to stand in your own personal power. Like, that's what I got out of what you said. Like, you got it, but it's like you go in and out of it and you're not quite sure, which at 23 you shouldn't be. You're 23, you're still a baby. So a lot of this stuff you're going to learn, but what I hear you saying now is you're kind of going in and out of your personal power, and at certain times you give it away. Guess what? That's how we're programmed. In capitalism, in colonialism, in leftover slavery-ism, that is what Black folks are taught, to give their personal power away. So you're not trying to get your wife's power, your baby's power, your job's power. You want your own personal power. And I encourage you to pick up and incorporate those practices that you were doing with wrestling that helped you feel grounded and in your own personal power, and to also kind of watch your thinking, because that sounds like programming. It sounds like trauma. You're either in fight or flight, fawn or freeze. Fawn or freeze is basically people pleasing. So you can also look at the different ways, because fight or flight is not the only trauma response. So look at trauma responses. Is my thinking a trauma response, or am I thinking from a grounded place? So that's what I heard you saying, and I can relate so much. That's why these are things I have also been thinking about doing for myself that might be helpful, but that's what I heard you saying.
Love that, Victoria. Love that.
What did you say? The cognitive, the thinking traps?
It's called thinking traps. And this is from AI. Thinking traps, also known as cognitive distortion, are patterns of negative or inaccurate thinking that can negatively impact your emotions and behavior. These traps lead to inaccurate conclusions and can be difficult to recognize and overcome without conscious effort. And then there's like 10, there's more than 10 here, but there's like 10 basic ones, I think. And if you go through and you, because mine is personalizing, that's a big one for me. Everything is personal. I done made a whole story up and the person ain't even thinking about me. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's called cognitive distortion or thinking traps.
And we are taught to do that as well. And that's what I remember watching Muji, and Muji said, I want you to just be still and be quiet. And he goes, not imagining anything and not creating a reality. And when he said that, it was like a bomb just dropped. And, because that's the thing as well, you can listen to 1,000,001 things, but it just takes that one. Because again, Gabriel, like what Victoria just gave you there was gold. And there's a lot of that stuff that I've paid attention to, and I didn't know it was what Victoria's just outlined. And I feel like we should do a session on it, to be honest. Yeah. And look,
Yeah.
I'll do a presentation on it. And you are right. Yesterday I was ready to come in today and just write. And it was very clear guidance, do something. And then I asked the Most High what, and the affirmations and scripting was screaming at me. And then in the process of doing that, the power of the pen, from what we were talking about, the Most High guided me, look at that. And it all does tie in, and I think that there's so much. This is why I like Muji, because what I like about Muji is that he, as complex as all this is, he breaks it down to simplicity. Because if you can do nothing but think positively, focus on yourself and your own, direct family, your life will switch. Everything will switch. The problem is, as you've established and you've said, and that I know I've battled with, thoughts are coming in. We don't generate all our own thoughts. And when you are analytical, and then you've got trauma, and then you've got emotion, it's easier said than done. Like I've had young people say to me, I get flashbacks. They're trying to live their life, but they'll just be sitting down and have a flashback of trauma. Or I know that myself, things that I would regard as traumatic, I've had nightmares about. And then I wake up I go to bed fine, and then wake up all uncomfortable because I've had this nightmare about a past trauma. So, and those emotions are overwhelming. Like with what I was saying about the racism and my daughters, it was the two biggest triggers you could trigger me with. My close loved ones and money. If you teeth off me, I'm vexed. don't take my stuff. You can have anything if you ask me for it, but do not thief off me. I'm not a thief, and I don't like thieves. Number one, don't hurt my mom or my daughters or my sisters or my close family, because it triggers me to the you know. So I was sitting in this madly triggered space, and I just could not calm my backside down. You know what I mean? I'm in my class, doing my class, and my mind's going, and I want to text this. One of the classes I had to come out of, in truth, because I had to tell the tutor, look, I can't concentrate. But it forces you back to that spiritual place. You know, Gabriel, it's hard, but it's not. It's difficult, it's complex, but it's simple. That is the dichotomy of life. You know, if you can learn to control your emotions, so you have to have tools when you get to that high emotional place, when you're highly triggered. My tools are dancing, you know, meditation works for me. Sometimes it can be hard to get into that meditation, but I find if you sit with it, the first 5 minutes you might be there going, but then, and I literally am sitting there like, but after 5 minutes, it calms down. And then you get to 20 minutes, 30 minutes, and you come out of it feeling completely different. Affirmations, going around just saying it, just saying it, just saying it. You can feel stupid. It can feel stupid. When I started doing the meditation, Billy Carson meditation, I was like, I'm not doing this, man. Oh, I was like, nah. But then I did it, and now I don't care, and it feels so nice. Because the is breath control. You have to breathe in and then your arm out. So and I listen to Billy Carson's got one on YouTube. If you Google, look that up, Billy Carson meditation. And I find that's easy to do, half an hour, no effort. Easier than if I just try and sit there by myself meditating. So it's all about, I think Tania said before, what's your toolkit? You got to have a toolkit. Because the people that are high functioning, high vibrational, you know, high frequency, positive, love vibration, authenticity, you got a toolkit. You don't go around thinking stuff happens to me. You go around going, what's the lesson in this? How did I create this in my world? What are my thoughts been? Am I here to help them? Are they here to help me? Because it's that complex. It's not always when something, like with the situation with the bank again, Victoria, it's very clear to me that I'm here to show them something. And I actually sent them an email saying, what's really sad is you had an opportunity to do good. And you guys seem to revel in bad behavior, talking to people bad. You're not investigating nothing. That's your life. But know what goes around comes around. I sent them that email. Whether they get it or not, I don't care, but I was guided to say that. You know, it's amazing. We can impact change. We don't know how we're impacting change sometimes.
Yes, we can, and I think that's the whole game for you, not to know your own personal power and how that can impact change in your life and change in other people's lives. Absolutely, and your story is an example, because you know, when it first started, you were very stressed, and you know, I heard hesitation, but you did it anyway, and then it ended up being the right thing for you. You know what I'm saying? So I'm so excited. You're right. We never know how going through something is going to not only change us, but change other people. So I think that's awesome. I'm so glad. And your daughters got to see how to problem solve. How here's a situation I'm presented with a problem, is very upsetting. Here's how I move through it. And our children need that example. No world is perfect. And so they need to know how to manage conflict and move through conflict. So kudos to you. I'm happy for you.
Thank you.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Because what you said helped empower me. You know, and I think just to wrap it up, what Victoria said so beautifully there is, it's about retaining and growing your own personal power. You know, because we fling out our power like it's nothing, but you have an influence on us, Gabriel. So you being in the group changes the group. You being in the podcast and adding your contributions changes the conversation, you know. So you should never ever think that you are not that powerful, because you are. Other people often see what we ourselves don't see, but the bottom line is the most powerful action is what you do to yourself.
Yeah.
What you're saying to yourself, how you spend your time, what your focus is on. It all, and this is why people struggle with high spirituality, because the bottom line is it all comes back to you.
Yeah.
No matter what.
And I was thinking, like, what great opportunities he has to learn, because as a personal trainer, these are the things that, you know, it's not just about training that person to do the exercise a certain way, but they may be struggling with something that Gabriel has already been through, that just a little, hey, think about, that's a thinking trap, or, you know, blah, blah, blah. And it may be that little thing that gets that person over the hump, that keeps them coming back, keeps them consistent with their workout. So I think everything that Gabriel is going through or experiencing or thinking about can be a strong piece of his personal training going forward. And as he was talking and the different things he's thinking about, I'm thinking he would make a perfect personal trainer. I think that is definitely, because a lot of personal training is motivating people, coaching them. Maybe you see something in that person that you at one time identified was a roadblock for you, and you found a way through it. So I just think 23 and you're actually on top of this stuff, you're way ahead of the game. And I think that all of this is in alignment with how your life is supposed to be, and it's not necessarily a negative. It is just an experience and an experiment. That's really, I feel like, what our life is. If you're not experiencing something, then you're experimenting with a thought, a concept, a belief, a different way of doing things. And that's, I think, you know, Gabriel, you're on the right track. You're doing very well. And I just think you're being hard on yourself, and that's what happens with empaths and people who are called to lead. That's part of it. So
Thank you.
Would you like to add anything, Gabriel?
I always say I don't always look at it negative. Not saying that that's what you were saying, but like, I know this is the path. Like, you know, God's created a path for us. We're just following in the footsteps. It's like I have that in my head. I always know that. I guess it's more for me, it's kind of trying to stay focused on the path, or like just in the midst of it, you know. I might have relationship stuff going on, you know, finance stuff going on, men stuff going on that I don't understand. And it's like always a thought of how can, you know, well, initially I don't always think about it, but now when I think about it, it's like, how can I stay focused when this is happening? Like, you know, usually stuff happens to, you know, make you relapse, make you impulsive, make you make a bad decision. Everything's always a teaching moment. You know, everything works for our good. So it's like, whether it's bad, it's a lesson. Whether it's good, now we have experience. But it's really in my aspect of seeing of how how can I manage through this? I've been very impulsive, more reacting person rather than proactive and strategizing the organization. It's like I want to see what it's like when I do that. But I let more of feeling in the moment and overthinking empower more than being more practical and composed, I would say. I mean, I know that's something like and another thing I would say is not a flaw, but something that I need to work on is like I speak so well. Like that's probably where I should start with affirmations and why it works so well. So I can speak so well. Like I have so much on my mind when I speak and it draws out. It's awesome. But it's like the action in self is where it's the issue. That's why I said when I wasn't really worthy of doing the podcast self, that like I felt contradicted, because it was like I would be contradicting, because it's like I speak so well, I can uplift somebody, I can tell somebody all this, and it's like I could even tell myself that, but consistently doing the action and like believing that I can is the issue. One of the issues I struggle with, and I don't know why. And it's like that's where I would say like when she said support, like in wrestling, I used to struggle with believing, I was confident in shooting or like, being aggressive. I had to struggle with that, but I had an environment that wouldn't let me see anything otherwise. Like they would literally beat me down until I was forced to do it. And then once it got to the point where it's like I'm forced to do it, and then you do it and you get a great result. Now it's like, well, I can do this all the time now. But in this situation, obviously I can't really have that as much, I would say, or at least I don't see it as much. So it's like, I don't know how to get that from myself. Now I'm leaning on God. I'm trying not to be such a physical person. Like if I see it to believe it, like I'm trying not to be that, because I believe in a lot of things I don't see. But it's like when it comes to me, it always feels like I have to see it to believe it. I have to, it's like it has to be here for me to believe it. But when it comes to somebody else, it's like I feel it in you, see it in you. Like I just don't know why when it comes to me, there's more of a gap than other people. And yeah,
I think that's leadership though. I think that people who are natural leaders, that's what you do. You don't I have to see it to believe it. So God, the Most High, has had to show me in multiple ways the truth, because I ain't gonna watch no YouTube video and it tell me that's what it is and believe it. That's how you are a great leader. You can't be a great leader when you're easily swayed by this and that. Somebody can come up to you and say that if the moon shines on a Wednesday and you go, yeah, then you're an idiot. That's the truth. You're a fool, right? So leaders, absolutely. Like I was looking at my youngest the other day, and she's a born leader, man. She could run the world. And Mom said it about her. She said she has to learn for herself. It doesn't matter what I tell her. She has to go out and experience it for herself to see the truth in it. You know what I mean? And that's because she's not got a weak mind. So I think that is natural, what you're saying. I don't think it's a bad thing. And I don't think it's something that ever, if you're a leader, goes away. You're always going to be, it's like what 19 Keys is saying about cognitive security. You've got to guard your mind. You can't let everything in. You've got to have judgment. You've got to be able to go away and analyze. That's where the intelligence comes in. We are not just spiritual. We've got a mind and a brain for a reason. And the other thing that 19 Keys helped me with was when he said about procrastinating. And he's got this whole story where he talks about when procrastination was invented, which I find quite funny. And he said, somebody said, go and do this thing. And he was like, I'll do it later. And that's when it was invented. And at that time of my life, I needed to hear that. And, no matter how hard it gets, and I've been teaching my daughters as well a lot recently, just do the thing. If I say, go and wash up the dishes, they go, yes, Mom. And 2 hours later, it's still there. And I'm saying to them, if you just did it when I told you to do it, it'd be done and you'd feel different, because now you've achieved it. It's out of the way and you're more in control of your life. But when you put things off, whatever it is, so for me, there's a lot of things now where I just cut out the thinking, because what I realized as well is that the thinking is creation. So you're literally creating something out of nothing. So if I've got to do the laundry and I've got to cook the dinner and I've got to wash the dishes and all of that, if I sit around thinking about that, I'm now creating a bigger thing. Instead, I can just go and do it. And in going and doing it, I've done it. And now I feel superhuman because I've cooked the dinner and I've washed the clothes and I've done that in 2 hours. And everything is about going back to how it makes you feel. Procrastination makes you feel bad. Action makes you feel good. You know, simple but complex.
I like that part you said. Procrastination makes you feel bad. Action makes you feel good. It's true. Procrastination makes me feel confused, like I don't know what I'm doing. And there's nothing more that triggers me than confusion, or like I don't know what I'm doing. Even sometimes I might know what I'm doing, then I second guess myself to where I don't know what I'm doing. Now I'm confused. Yeah.
And when you go quiet and you get better at hearing that voice inside, you just take the command. So that's something I've learned in the last 10 years is just, I know a command. Like I said, with this doing the workshop today, that command was given to me last night. When I had a different situation where I was making a complaint, I got up in the morning and the command was write the letter now at like 9 o'clock. And I was like, I don't need to write it now. I'll write it at like 4 o'clock later. I'm doing this. But it was hammering at me, write it now. When I sat down and started to write the letter, it took me nearly 24 hours to write the letter. By the time I pulled all the information in, got my evidence together, blah, blah, blah. But then when I licked them with that letter, they had nowhere to turn. If I'd have done it at 4 o'clock now, it wouldn't have been the same letter. You know, so you got to, when the Most High, when your higher self is talking to you, you got to listen. Because that's how you become more efficient and more walking in your path.
Yeah. It is true.
But everything's experiential. So like going through the financial stuff I'm dealing with right now, it's not deep. It'll come out the other side in a minute. But it's easy for me to have this approach because I've had it in the past and I've gone through it in the past. And it's been worse in the past at different times. And I think somebody said before, you know, if you're here today, it shows that whatever went on before, you got through and you managed it and you're here now. So a lot of the stuff you're experiencing is first time dad, new marriage, figuring out finance. It's all first time. In 10 years time, it's going to be nothing to you and you'll be telling someone 10 years younger what I'm saying to you now, like, and it's ebbs and flows as well. You know, I watched this thing the other day where this guy was saying I was on universal credit, my marriage had failed, I had 5 children to look after, it was touch and go, but now I've just moved into this massive house and it backs onto a cathedral and I've got all these contracts. You know, just going with the ebbs and the flows of it and keeping yourself as steady as you can in the midst of it, because it's always going to be all right. The Most High will always look after you, always.
Yeah.
He's so cute, man. Honestly, you need to stop doing this. I'll go out there and find myself a man in an hour. He's so beautiful, and he's very fortunate to have a father that is coming in, dealing with this world consciously. The conscious spirits, you are awake, so you're going to see things differently and you're going to have a deeper emotional. These are good signs. You're not numb inside. You're not that traumatized that you can't face yourself. You know, these are all great signs of, as Victoria said, you know, the man you're becoming. And when you get a piece of clay, if clay can feel, and you're molding this clay into, it's the same analogy as, you know, coal, the pressure on the coal makes the diamond.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I always feel like, you know, I always feel I'm desperate for greatness. That's always what I say. Cause like, I'm working at Red Lobster right now.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, it's cool, I guess. But it's always the thought in my head like, dang, I'm working at Red Lobster.
Mhm.
This is not it. Like I always get those like. Don't get me wrong. You know, I'm not a. Yeah, you want to talk to? I'm not a person, you know, obviously shit on 9 to 5 or anything, because you gotta work, you gotta get the money. But it's like, I don't know, it's something in me, it's just like, it's not me. I want to content create. I don't know, I just have a sense to be known. I don't even know, I'm not trying to be the cocky, I want to be famous, you know, I just want the fame. I just want to, like, when I was in wrestling and everybody knew who I was, and like, I can go out to a gas station and somebody knows me there. It's like, that feeling was just so good. Like, it's like, I don't try to be like, I don't want to be like this person that's just going to do anything to get fame, but it's like, I like to be known. I like my name to be known. I like my face on a cover or something. Like, I want to be fashionable, like these thoughts and do it. But like when I, you know, at the night of like working at Red Lobster and things like that, I always feel like I'm restricting myself, but I don't know where to start. Like, I don't know where to like put myself. Like, I make some videos, gym content. I gotta make more because I don't know why I'm incompetent about doing that sometimes. But to edit it, put it out, be, you know, vigilant on it. But it's like, I don't know. It's that double thinking again. It's that two minds. Like, I want to do it, but then I don't want to do it. Like, I don't want to feel like I'm not taking the focus off my children or finances by doing something, you know, aside, or, you know, just overthinking it. Like, I don't feel like this content is worthy enough or something like that of that nature. I don't know. Like, is this really me? But then again, I'm not testing it to see if it is. So like, this is literally the thought process I go through when I'm, you know, trying to go through with it. And I just know there's something for me that's better. I just am getting there in the process.
Yeah.
Red,
how noble of it is of you to work at Red Lobster. What that tells me is you're willing to do whatever it takes to care for your family. You know what I'm saying? And with what's going on with people are losing their jobs by the droves. I work in an industry where people are calling in and they're saying, hey, I just lost my job. So I know that, you know, Red Lobster is not glitz and glamour, but I think there are a lot of people that are going through it, and it's just a sign of the times here, right? We have a whole way of working and being crumbling before our eyes, and it has to be replaced with something else. So there's those jobs that were there, they're not there anymore. So how noble of you to say, okay, I'm gonna work at Red, I'll do whatever it takes. And that's kind of what it is. And a lot of times it's spinning your wheels. It's, me and my sister talk about this all the time. It's like, I'm sitting at home, I really don't have money, I've got all of this free time to create and do all of this stuff, but I don't do it. But when I'm working and I'm tired and I don't have any time and I'm still broke, but not as broke because I got a job, it's like, now I've got all, you know, I have to work and the free time is gone. So it's kind of like, do I have the free time and struggle with not having everything I need and create, or do I work and then squeeze in the things that are important to me here and there? And the other thing is, again, everything is on a cycle. You're working at Red Lobster now, it's going to be the story that you tell 15 years from now. And I feel like these are the things that greatness comes from. If you're privileged and everything is handed to you, you don't have a hustle mentality. But if you're at Red Lobster and you want more for yourself, more than likely you're going to exert the energy to figure that out. But if you had some cushy job where the pay was what you wanted, you probably would never, you know, pursue personal training on the level that it sounds like you want to, or being known. So I feel like Red Lobster is like a motivator. It's the, I don't know, the stuff that greatness is made of, right? Because a lot of great leaders, I mean, started at Steve Jobs and what is his name? The one that owned Microsoft. They came from privilege. I mean, they had the environment where they could survive, but when you talk about the African American story, or the Africans of the diaspora, we made something out of nothing. And to me, that is such a noble pursuit. Like, how proud to be able to tell your son one day, son, this is what it takes to make it. Yeah, I worked at Red Lobster and waited tables. I did what I had to do to care for you, and that led to this and that led to that. So I know that it can sound in our world like it's a horrible, bad place to be, but a lot of people started from the bottom and had to work their way up. So, I mean, I commend you. It was something else I had to say, but I can't remember. But that's, if it comes back to me, I'll share. But that's all I want to say about that.
It makes me think of, like you're saying, Victoria, it's groundwork. Like Karate Kid, when he has to do the wax on, wax off with the car. Like, I've done cleaning, I was doing call center work, I was doing outbound sales, inbound call center, all through my education. And some of them jobs I absolutely hated. Like, I'd have to drag myself in there and you're watching the clock and then you run out the door. But like Victoria said, once you come out of there, you're never going to go back to it. That's one thing. It gives you that foundation that I've done that. That the universe rewards that kind of nobility, as Victoria said. It's a noble act. It's a righteous act. When you're acting in a righteous manner, you get rewarded for that, So you're going out and you're making the money for your family however you need to. You're only 23. You haven't got a world of experience under your belt to go and get some big professional job. So you use it for what it's for. You use it as the battery in your back. And there's things in that job that are going to teach you something, that are going to make you more efficient in the future. When I worked in the call center, and it's funny because my dad's got a driving school. So from a young age, we were answering the phone for my dad's driving school. So it'd be, hello, Morgan School of Motoring, how can I help you? And we'd be taking messages. And I didn't realize that was training for the call center. And then when I did the call center work, every job I've had since, especially in children's services, people have said to me, your phone manner, Caroline, the way you are on the phone, because it's nothing to me. So whatever you're doing is going to be a foundation for what is coming. You just can't see it yet. But the Most High, even if it's just the discipline of getting out of bed, forcing yourself to go somewhere to do something you don't want to do, and seeing that out and being committed to that, because when you're doing what you want to do, it's going to feel like you're flying.
Yeah. The other thing that came to mind too is we always put the word create in front of content. What if you're just documenting your life, or why can we, some people document, because I don't know, I feel like sometimes when we say create, that's such a pressure and a weight. That means I should already be here and I'm going to create this phenomenal content and everybody's going to like it and it's going to go viral. Yeah, there are steps to everything. Most people start with the training wheels and then they graduate and they can ride the bike without the 2 wheels on the side. So what if you just document? And my favorite content is people vlogging their daily life. Okay, I got up at this time, I brushed my teeth, because it's relatable. It's relatable. Okay, I brushed my teeth too. Oh, okay, so this is how you incorporate getting, you want to be a content creator, this is how I do it. So I think people can learn from also documenting your life, not necessarily coming up with this content you got to create and it's wonderful, document it. I mean, and start with just your phone or whatever. I think remove all the barriers is what I'm saying to you getting out there. I think, and this is piggybacking off of what you said, sometimes it's just creating the space and the habits. And then you can doctor it up, pretty it up, learn more about it and go from there. But maybe the first step is just I filmed this week. Next week I learned how to upload. Now I'm learning how to edit. What you're doing is you're learning the habits that it takes to create content. And then as you get better with it, it gets to the level that you want. But that's what I was thinking so maybe it's just getting in the habit, like we've been talking, of just doing it every day. Just like, you said, okay, 369. First it took me 2.5 hours. Then I learned and I got efficient at it. Same thing with the content, because we are a media company, unfortunately or fortunately. And that's what I'm having to learn. I got to get back out there because I am my own media company. And if I don't have my little things out there, how are people going to know about me? I don't want people to learn everything about me by buying from a data broker. You've gone online and you paid, this money, or you've gone here. Now someone else is controlling my narrative about who I am, and I'm not controlling my narrative. And at least if somebody else is telling you about me, I need to have my stuff where I'm telling you about me myself. I don't know if this makes sense, but it's important to understand we are a media company, and no matter where you start, it's all important, and maybe you should just document different things. This is how I'm learning to be a personal trainer, or this is what I did because I'm trying to be more consistent. You would be surprised at how those things can help other people.
Yeah, even just a total agreement. Even just the way you are with your son is really a great example. You'd be amazed at how many young men might have become fathers and just don't know what to do. But watching you, just the full confidence that you look after him with, it's from every time we've seen you with him, like you're just handling that.
And the baby is always calm, not fussing, not fighting. It's like you can tell the parents because the baby is peaceful. You see what I'm saying? Like, the baby is chilling and just enjoying himself. And because I've seen the baby nose is running, the baby's crying. It's just chaos from one minute to the next. Those things is a reflection on the parent sometimes. Yes, some babies have challenges, but I think a lot of how the baby is reacting to their environment has to do with their parent and the parenting. So definitely someone could benefit from that.
The vibes.
Yeah, that's what I think about content creation. Not just gym stuff, but like documentation. That's what I always say I want to do. But it's always being negative thoughts of like, I really don't do anything. So it's like, I don't want to just, like, I feel I'm boring, or like.
Who does anything? Who's not boring? This is all the programming foolishness that they've tried to teach us. Foolishness, and Victoria hit the nail on the head with everything she said. And this has been the process with all of this right about now, the podcast. Like, I just don't think about it. I don't stress about it. Whoever comes in right about now on Saturday comes in. I don't stress about who's on the podcast. I'm not going around like reminding people, or if you want to do it, you'll do it. If you don't want to do it, don't do it. If it's meant to happen, it will happen. But everything you just said is what we're doing. We get on here and we're just documenting it. We haven't got the mindset of let's create this thing. We're not going into it saying these are the points of the conversation we're going to have. It's organic, it flows. And because of that, something beautiful comes out every time. So Gabriel, I'd watch you. I'd watch what you're doing. There's some absolute foolishness online that no one cares about. And most of it is that flashy rubbish. I don't want to see some 20-year-old going around in designer clothes, driving fast cars. What you've done to get that? Is that even real? I'm not interested in that.
Right.
I'd rather watch you as a new dad, working a job that you don't really like, but you're doing it for your family, the resilience of that, what that takes, the strength, the courage that... Listen,
There is the story. Yes. Yes. That is what is interesting. That is the non-boring part of the story. Absolutely. I agree 100%. I'm a hush.
Let's go, Gabriel. Let's go. Stop overthinking. I've done it all myself. Just stop it. You just gotta. Some things are complex, some things aren't. You have been affirmed through us in different ways, through different people, that you're a great character. You come across beautifully. Yeah. You're articulate, you're kind, you're sensitive, you listen. You don't listen to talk over. You listen and you always give these great responses. You're present. Like, just do the thing. Do the thing.
That's all.
End on that, because I'm going to stop this recording.